Do you want to live and work legally in the United States, but you don't have a sponsor? If so, and you might be interested in opening and running a business in the United States, then the E2 investor visa might be for you. My name is Kalani Hawks Villafranca. I guide my clients on their U.S. immigration journey. I'm a U.S. immigration attorney, and I'm here to talk to you today about the E2 investor visa. The E2 investor visa is an amazing option for people who want to move to the United States, but who don't have an option through a sponsor. Often when we think about immigration in the United States, we think about needing a sponsor. So that's a family member or a business who's going to petition for you to get your visa and move to the US. But did you know that there are several opportunities for you to self-sponsor, to get your own visa and be your own sponsor on your US immigration journey? The E2 investor visa is one of those options. So let's talk about the E2 investor visa. What is it? There are two kinds of investor visas. The one we're not talking about today is the one where you have to invest $1 million, create 10 jobs, and it's a really big, complex process that is not accessible to very many people. We're not talking about that today. The E2 visa, on the other hand, is available to investors who run and open a business in the United States, and you don't need a ton of money. We'll get into in a minute how much money you might need to invest, but know that $50,000 can be enough. $100,000 can be enough. That's not a small amount of money, but it's way less than $1 million and makes the investor visa through the E2 accessible to a lot more people. So if you're thinking, I could never invest in the US because I have to have $1 million, that's not true. If you have enough money to own and operate a legitimate business in the US, then you have enough money to get an investor visa. So the E2 investor visa is called a non-immigrant visa. What that means is that it does not lead to a green card, but it's a really great option if you don't need a green card, you just want to live and work in the US, because with your E2, you and your family can live and work lawfully in the US as long as your business is operational and profitable. So that means you can come to the US with your E2 and you can renew it indefinitely. So you could be here 10, 15, 20 years running your business with your E2 visa. So while it doesn't lead to a green card, it does and can lead to very long-term stability in the United States. If that's what you're looking for, the E2 visa could be a really good opportunity for you. So how do we know if you're eligible for an E2 visa? First, we need to know, are you from a treaty country? The E2 is created by treaties between the United States and other countries to facilitate international trade and commerce. So we need to know, where are you a citizen? And does your country have a treaty with the United States to support an E2 visa? Many, many countries have treaties. Mexico does, Spain does, Great Britain does, and many, many others. Those are just the three I've looked at most recently for my clients. But it's likely that you are from a treaty country. You can find that out by going to the Department of State website. It lists all the treaty countries there and lists the time frame for E2 visa treaties. Each treaty is different. So if you're from Mexico, you can get an E2 investor treaty for an initial period of 4 years. If you're from Spain, you can get an E2 visa for an initial period of 5 years. If you're from Chile, your initial period is 1 year. So it depends on where you're from, how long your visa will be for before you have to renew it. And these time periods change. Mexico used to be a one year E2 visa country. Recently, Mexico increased its period for E2 visas to 4 years, which is phenomenal. So it's 4 times as long for you to live and work in the US lawfully before you have to renew your visa. So that's the first question to know if you're eligible for an E2 visa is, are you from a treaty country? If you're a dual citizen, that's fine as long as one of your citizenship countries is a treaty country. Okay, so let's assume you're from a treaty country. We'll say Mexico, which is an E2 treaty country with the United States. Next, who is eligible to get a visa through the E2 visa? 3 different people. 1, the actual investor and owner of the business can get an E2 visa. So who's an owner for E2 purposes? You're an owner or investor if you own at least 50% of the company, which gives you the right to develop and control the enterprise. The government wants to know, if they're going to give you this visa, that you actually control the business, and so that you can control the outcome and make sure it's profitable and a worthwhile enterprise. If you have partners, either you need to be the majority partner or it's just two partners, each of you owning 50%. If you own less than 50% of the business, it's going to be really hard for you to argue that you control the business as an investor. Okay, so that's the first person who can get an E2 visa, is the owner / investor. The second person who can get an E2 visa is a manager or executive of the E2 business. An E2 business can petition for a visa for somebody who is an executive function or supervisory function in the company, as long as that person has the same citizenship as the investor. So say we have a Mexican investor who owns a restaurant. He can hire someone to run the business who's also Mexican, and that person can petition for their E2 visa as a supervisory employee. There's a third person who can get an E2 visa from the same business, and that's the chef, say. The third person who can get an E2 visa is an employee with essential skills. So in our example, we have a Mexican owner of a restaurant and a Mexican manager of that restaurant and a Mexican chef who works in that restaurant. Each of those people can get a visa under the E2 through the treaty between Mexico and the United States. All right, so we've figured out you're from a treaty country. You're one of the three kinds of employees or owners who can get an E2 visa. How do you make it happen? So before you apply for your E2, you have to have invested in the business. You can't just talk about a business you think you will run. If you get this E2 visa, you actually have to have a business plan and you have to have made a substantial investment in your business already. So what does that look like? What is a substantial investment? This is the $1 million question, right? How much money do I have to spend on this business to get an E2 visa? And I'm going to give you a very broad answer, which is it depends and maybe not as much as you think. You just have to invest enough to make it clear that you're reasonably investing in the business for it to succeed. So the amount of money you need to invest is directly proportionate to the kind of business you're trying to run. If you want to open a vehicle manufacturing site, but you only want to invest $50,000, that's probably not going to cut it. Running a vehicle manufacturing site is exceptionally expensive. There's no way you can get it up and running with $50,000. However, if you want to run a hot dog stand, $50,000 is probably more than enough to do your initial investment, get a lease on your property, and get the startup equipment you need and get it going. So the amount of money you need is directly related to the kind of business you want to run. More important than the amount of money is showing that you're actually investing the money that you own and control in the business. So let's talk about that. This is a really important point. We got to follow the money. So the money that you invest in your business, we have to be able to trace that money back and one, show that it's legal, and two, that you control it. So what does it mean that it's legal? The US government wants to make sure they're not going to give you a visa to run a business that you've invested in with illegally gotten money. So there are many ways to prove that you got money lawfully, either through legitimate salary and savings, through a gift from family or friends, through lottery winnings even count, and real estate sales, that counts. That's all lawful. It just can't be illegally gotten money. So it's really important that we document the whole way how you got that money. And then we document every time you invest in your business so we can show all the money that you're spending on your business and that it's your money to control and that you got it lawfully. So you've decided you're going to get an E2. You found a business you want to buy or start, and you've invested in that business. We have to show that the business you're investing in is an active enterprise that is going to be part of commerce in the United States. So what does that mean? Your business can't be passive. A passive business is something like a real estate investment in the United States. The real estate just sits there. You own the land, but nothing happens. That land isn't interacting with anyone else in the US. There's no commerce happening there. So we need to show that your business is a real functioning enterprise. But beyond that, it could be anything you want. You can run a restaurant. You can have a consulting firm. maybe. So we have to make sure it's really a legit consulting firm and you have real clients, because consulting is a term people use sometimes when they don't really know what they want to do. So you can run a business, you can buy a franchise, you can open a manufacturing facility, all sorts of things qualify for an E2 visa as long as they're real businesses and you've invested money and have the ability to control the outcome of that business. That can be your E2 investment. What kind of proof do we use to show that you have really invested in this company and then you've started it up? Signing a lease for the facility, photographs of the facility, formation documents for your corporation or for the purchase of a business. All of that is proof of a real and functioning enterprise. Now, a question I get a lot is, abogada, I don't want to spend all this money on this business if I'm not going to get my visa. And the government understands that. So there is a way for you to hedge your bets a little bit. The government does allow you, if you're going to purchase a business or purchase a franchise, you can put your money into an escrow account or make the purchase contingent on the issuance of that E2 visa. So that once the E2 is issued, then you pay for that business. Or if you don't get the E2 visa, you get your money back. There are different ways to do it, but you can enter into an agreement to buy a business contingent on the visa purchase. But other than that, you got to really invest the money. Let's see what's next. I have my notes here. Super important. We have to be able to prove that your business is not marginal. What that means is your business has to be able to make a profit that is above and beyond the salary of the E2 investor. So obviously, if you're an E2 investor and you move to the US to run your company, you want to be able to make a good salary. But for your business to be a functional E2 business, we have to prove that you're going to put money into the US economy that is above and beyond just your salary. We show that by showing that your business is profitable. When we apply for your E2 visa, we will send, along with your visa application, a 5-year business plan that will show the projections for your business becoming profitable. Obviously, a brand new business isn't profitable because it doesn't exist. And if you're buying a business, you can probably easily show it's profitable or show your plans for changing that business to make it profitable. But as long as you can show that you're on the track to being profitable, that's really important. We work with business plan writers who understand immigration specifics so that when we submit your business plan, it really looks exactly as it needs to look to show immigration what they're looking for, that over time your business will contribute to the US economy. And last but not least, I really want to talk to you about the fact that the E2 visa is a non-immigrant visa, which means that you have to prove that if at any time your E2 visa ends, you have the intention to leave and go back to your home country, that you have the intent to depart. How do we show that? We can show that in a number of ways, by showing that you still have real estate in the home country, you have business dealings there, you have family there, and also by submitting a statement showing that you intend to depart if and when you ever don't have your E2 visa anymore, that you happily will leave. So those are some very high-level considerations of the E2 visa. Each of those points has so many more things we can talk about, and I would love to talk about them more with you, but that's the high-level overview for today. That the E2 visa allows business owners to run and operate a business in the US and gives them and their families, that includes spouses and children under 21, the right to live and work in the US lawfully while you run that business. So what are the next steps if you're interested in an E2 visa? 1, are you from an E2 treaty country? We have to know that to move forward. Assuming that's yes, then do you want to open a brand new business? Do you want to buy someone else's business? How do you want to start your investment? That's what you need to figure out next. And then step 3, you got to get your team together. Owning and operating a business is no small enterprise. I can give you advice on your immigration visa opportunities, and I can apply for your E2 visa and help you get that. But we also need a team. You need a business attorney, a tax advisor, and somebody to write your business plan. I am happy to help you find the right team of people for you. I have a list of people that I send to my clients so you can find the right person for your particular business. But you need a team to be successful. You cannot do this on your own. And I would love to be part of your team if you're interested in an E2 visa. give me a call. I would love to have a consult with you and we'll talk more broadly about the opportunities. My phone number is 512-675-2945. I hope this has been helpful. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Hasta mañana.